5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to
We
the
in
Fantasy
there.
Brothers podcast. It's Josh. It's Ben. We are here with you, getting ready to talk Week 6, and also basically just mourn the loss that was Week 5. There was many points, but it came at a cost.
It hurt us. Me especially. You
The
especially.
contending the contending rosters out there in the world just took a massive hit on Sunday, and it all like
I've got a
it turned out to
phenomenal
be
IR in our main dynasty league.
your IR team right now could win you a
My
championship.
IR team is unstoppable.
It was crazy because on the episode earlier this week, we were talking like we didn't know anything about Jefferson, Anthony Richardson, Devon Achan. It was like,
We
I
know
don't
now.
know. Well, now we know. They're all on IR. Worst case scenario for everyone.
Potentially even worser case scenario for Jefferson, which we will get into a little bit.
Yeah. So why don't we go into these other ones and then we'll put our 10 caps on for Jefferson. But Devon Achan goes on IR for a knee injury. This one is
I
weird.
don't even remember when he got hurt.
I don't either. Well, okay, so he injured his ankle and left, but he did come back and he ran. He basically was a decoy on a screen, and he was sort of like sidestepping, side pedaling, or whatever you want to call it, on the screen. And so a lot of the injury docs online were like, at least it's probably not an MCL. It looks like he can actually side shuffle, which means the knee is probably somewhat okay. Turns out
Psych.
it's not. He's on IR. I don't know what happened. I don't know specifically what the injury is, but he's on IR.
Tough for you. Right when you were even turning the Devon A chain
The
haters,
Devon H haters. I
the
like
Devon
that.
H haters, which was me, uh, we were starting to come around. I'm like, okay, maybe he is a genuine oddity. I'll give it to you. IR.
It's just absolutely
He is, in fact, not big enough. Don't want to rub it in,
uh,
but I told you.
I keep defaulting back to he had like 270 carries in the SEC a year ago. It's not the same though.
SEC ain't what it used to be. It's been
Oh,
sad
that's what
watching
it
it
is.
this year. Yeah. It's a
That's
down
what.
year for
Okay.
the SEC.
Okay. Anthony Richardson goes on IR as well with that AC joint sprain.
Oh, great.
Wonderful.
Just when we
This
were
man,
excited to get Jonathan Taylor back in there, things were going to turn
yeah.
around.
I mean, to give the Colts credit, Gardner Minshew is maybe the best backup quarterback in the league,
Yeah,
if
he's pretty
not
good.
one of the handful of good actually backup quarterbacks in the league. So they're going to be okay. But man, I just wish we could get more Richardson. This man has left a game in 3 of the 5 games that he's played. He's only finished No, sorry. He's only finished 1 game healthy, I think.
That's crazy.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know it. So week 1 he left early. Week 2 was the concussion. He missed a game. So that means he played what
Yeah,
was
he
it?
left a little bit early.
Last week.
He came back into week 1 though. I thought he left and then came
He
back,
Right, but he
and then
left with an injury
he
and
left
came back.
early against Houston. Didn't play against Baltimore. Played the whole game against the Rams. Scored 31 points.
Yes.
And
So he's
then
got 1 full game at the NFL level.
yeah,
We got to put some I don't know. What's that little poppy wrap that as a kid you would just go they
just
ship
not
stuff in?
just put him
What's
in
the stuff
Flex
called?
Seal.
Fla-
Be unstoppable. That'll be
He'll float.
no. He won't float. He'll be invincible. You ever seen those commercials?
You can do anything to Flex Seal.
Phil Swift is a legend.
Phil Swift does now play games with his Flex Seal. If he coded Anthony Richardson in Flex Seal, he would never get injured again.
They'd have to make a new league because it would not be fair having Anthony Richardson out there.
James Conner also goes on IR with a knee injury. And I
Another
thought this
workhorse
was
down.
really funny. I don't know about you. I don't know if you've noticed this yet or not, but Amari DeMarcado, or however you say his last name, was one of the waiver pickups of the week because he was the presumed backup for James Conner. Well, the
Psych.
depth chart came out today, and Amari DiMarcado is not listed as the starter for Sunday. It is, in fact, Keontae Ingram. And so all that fab everybody burnt on DiMarcado is likely
Not getting that
worth
back.
anything. Threw that one in the wind. I don't know. It's just, at this point, it's just funny. It's like a sick joke because there's so many injured players. I've got like I'm about to have a mental breakdown is what's about to happen. I know you are also struggling with the injuries, but there was a league where I thought for a second that I was going to lose James Conner, Justin Jefferson, and Travis Kelce from the starting lineup, and I didn't know what I was going to do with myself.
You did lose 2 out of 3.
Lost 2 out of 3. I'm about to start, I kid you not, on a team that has dominated. I'm about to have to start Jeff Wilson at running back.
Ooh.
And I had depth then.
Ooh.
I had depth. I prepared for this. And I'm still about to start Jeff Wilson.
Is this the same league where, like, as this is all happening, my team just got Cooper Kupp back and is kind of hitting its stride?
This is exactly the same league.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to talk about it. Right as I'm scoring just so many points. I mean, I think last week going into the week, I was leading the league in scoring by 200 points. It wasn't even fair, and now it's fair.
And to be now in your defense, you've been leading the league by 200 or like leading by like 200 points in scoring, and this is the same league that my team dropped 230 points this past week. So
Yeah.
almost instantaneously caught up with you.
Oh yeah, now you're like within 80.
It's
The
like 30
gap-
points behind you now, I think,
Gosh. The
because
gap
I
shrunk
outscored you by
significantly.
over 100 this week.
Yeah. I had a rough week. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. Justin Jefferson.
Oh boy.
Let's lay out the scenario here. Obviously, he goes on IR with a hamstring injury. But there are warning signs showing up on the dashboard here for the Minnesota Vikings. They're now 1-4. There's a lot of rumors that they may move on from Kirk Cousins at the trading deadline, that with their best player in Jefferson on IR, they may not win any of the next 4 games while he's on IR. And if they look up and let's say they're, what would they be, 2-7? I can't do math. You're
Have
gonna
they
to
won
double
2
check
games
me
yet?
there.
I thought they're 1-4 right now.
They're 1-4, but I'm saying after Jefferson would be eligible to come back. So in 4 games.
Okay. So let's run some scenarios. I got their schedule pulled up. They go
Perfect.
to Chicago. A winnable
Probably a
game.
win.
A winnable game, but not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Then San Francisco comes to Minnesota.
That's an L.
You're not winning that one. So, okay, let's say perfect world, you beat Chicago, but you lose to San Francisco. So now you're 2-4. Then you go to
2-5.
Green Bay, also winnable, but no guarantee, especially on the road. Then Atlanta, again, on the road. No guarantees. It's winnable, but it might not happen. So
They could very well look up and
I
be
mean-
2-7 when he comes back from IR.
it's just difficult because they're all road games except for San Francisco, which is you were not going to win that one. They've
Yeah,
got to
so-
take 2 out of 4 of these just to even stay relevant.
And if they don't, if the sky falls and you look up and the season is essentially gone, do you tank for Caleb Williams? Do you sit Jefferson, sort of like how the Rams did with Cooper Kupp last year? It was a lost season. They said, you know what? Don't come back. It's not going to help anybody. Winning these games serves us no real purpose. The Vikings may look up and say, you know what? We're going to have a really good first-round pick. We don't need to get Justin Jefferson injured. We can ship Kirk Cousins off for whatever we can sell him for to one of these QB-needy teams. Maybe the Jets decide they want to go for a playoff push. And the Vikings are like, you know what? We're going to pack it in. See you next year.
That's the fear. They've already said they're not going to rush him back, quote unquote. They don't believe it's season ending. I I'm not convinced it's season ending either. He could play again this year, and I'm not going to be surprised. But I'm also like, don't be shocked if it's not 4 weeks and he comes back, but it's 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I don't know. And there's a chance, like you said, if he does come back, Kirk Cousins isn't even the quarterback at that time. So I know people like to talk crap about Kirk, and that I'm not going to argue with it. He's not the best, but he's a very good quarterback. He has chemistry with Jefferson. He knows the system. He makes Jefferson. And I'm not denying Jefferson, in my opinion, is the best receiver in the league, but he does help a lot with Justin Jefferson's fantasy value.
Yes.
So coming in back to a backup quarterback potentially in a lost season, it's just not ideal.
It's not great. It's
now,
not great.
The dynasty nerd in me gets very excited with just you throw Caleb Williams' name in there, and then my heart skips a beat. Like, oh, you mean to tell me there's a chance that Caleb Williams, one of the highest graded quarterback prospects and everyone loves with him ever, gets to walk into a team with a outstanding offensive coach in Kevin O'Connell. Yep. And he gets to have Justin Jefferson, TJ Hockenson, and Jordan Addison right off the bat? Yep. Yes, please.
I will say this. I know it is very difficult. I mean, outside of a Caleb Williams, let's say even they don't get the number one.
That is a fairyland.
That's a dreamland scenario. But let's say things do go south and they end up getting the 5th pick, the 4th pick. You end up with somebody like, I don't know, maybe Drake May. Maybe you end up with somebody like, I don't know, who Michael Penix, Bo Nix, who else is
Texas. What's his name? Ewers.
Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers.
You end up with a guy like that.
That feels like Kirk Cousins, though. I mean, a little bit to me.
Right, but if you're going to go to that scenario, like that's about as good a scenario as a rookie can walk into that I can remember.
That's spectacular. You have a top 3 tight end, the number 1 receiver, and Jordan Addison is an excellent 2.
Yeah. So our dynasty hats, we can take them off now. But that was a fun little exercise.
Go buy Justin Jefferson in Dynasty right now. you got a contender just went down. Whatever you have to offer to get him, go do it.
Yeah, you probably can't get it done, but there are deals. I have seen them on Twitter.
Maybe he was, like I said, maybe he was a contender.
Yeah, it probably was. Let's be honest. Somebody is trying to panic sell him for Puka Nacua right now. Go get it done.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
very sad.
Last piece of news here: Travis Kelce is probably going to play Thursday night.
Thank God.
Whew. What did we dodge? 1 bullet out of 6.
Again, I was in a similar situation to you, of just had Jefferson and Kelce, and like I'm going to lose both of them this week. I'm not super worried about Kelce. I figured he was going to come back, because he came back in and played in his game, but I didn't know on a short week. I would still temper expectations for him, but you ain't gonna bench Travis Kelce. No,
you're not. If he starts, you're playing him. Speaking of starts, why don't we talk about our starts of the week? Then after that, we've got a redo. If we were to redo our fantasy drafts, knowing what we know now going forward the rest of the season, we're going to redo the first 2 rounds of the draft. But before we get into that, we got our starts of the week. Go ahead and hit us with your running back start of the week, Ben.
Running back start of the week. Playing into into Justin Jefferson's injury, I'm going to start Alexander Mattison. I don't want to, but it's the Bears defense. The Bears defense is not amazing. There's more targets, less of an identity of the Vikings offense as a whole. So I think Alexander Mattison sees an increased role in a game that should be relatively high scoring.
Interesting. That's bold. That's calling your shot right there.
It's a start that I'm not expecting him to come out and put up 30 points or something, but I think it's a very safe floor for Alexander Mattison this coming week.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll allow it. Mine, It's low hanging fruit. I'll be totally honest with you. But it's Raheem Mostert against the Panthers. Devon Achane goes on IR.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You mean to tell me you're going to start a guy who's been scoring 18 to 30 points a week?
I think I will. Guys, in case you haven't noticed, you should probably start the RB too.
I'll give you that. He has a 50 burger this week. Or this year, sorry.
He does have a 50 burger this year. Yeah. It is, you know what? The Chicago Bears have been the gotcha matchup for running backs. Also the Broncos, let's be honest. But sneakily, the Panthers have been a great matchup for fantasy running backs. I feel like every week I'm looking up and I'm like, who are the Panthers playing? Oh, that guy. He went off. David Montgomery last week. He was great. David Montgomery hadn't had over 4 yards of carry in any game this year, and then he played the Panthers, and he looked like, I mean, he went Super Saiyan mode. It was incredible. So, it's the Panthers. It's Devon Achane goes on IR. Jeff Wilson does come off IR, but
Jeff Wilson
be
ain't
honest.
Devon Achane or
he's not Devon Achane. So yeah, we're going Raheem Mostert there.
receivers.
Receivers. Let's hop into them.
I'm going to stay in the same game, and I'm gonna start DJ Moore again. I didn't bench him anywhere. I started him everywhere last week. Very happy about that, and I'm gonna call it. He's getting another 50 points this week.
Another 50?
No, he's not getting another 50 points.
Okay.
But it's the same
Well,
thing I've been
we're
saying
winking.
every year. You start people who are playing the Vikings. Vikings
true.
offense score a lot of points, and Justin Fields. I think you actually mentioned this on the last episode. No other receivers caught a pass from Justin Fields on Thursday night.
That is correct.
I mean, there were other people who caught passes, but no one who played wide receiver for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
DJ Moore is an dominant alpha in Chicago. There is no two. It's
I'll
DJ
say
Moore.
this. I've been telling a lot of people to sell high on his massive performance. And by sell high, I don't mean go sell him for just some random guy. I mean, like, go get, like what our buddy Landa did. Go get Tony Pollard. Like, really sell high. Go get somebody good for DJ Moore.
Yeah.
I think I think you're right. I think he's probably going to have another good week.
I would sell after this week.
That's sort of what I'm thinking. Like, now he may not explode against, he may not explode Sunday. Obviously, he's probably not going to have 50 points. The likelihood of that happening is incredibly low. But, I mean, it feels like he is, I don't know, he's probably due for a little bit of a downturn. Week 7, it's Vegas. 8, it's the Chargers, New Orleans, Carolina, Detroit, Minnesota again. The matchups aren't terrible, but like, against Green Bay, it was 2 for 25. Kansas City, 6 for 41. Like, I know there's nobody else there, but like, I don't know if he's a top 12 receiver rest of season.
No, but at the
That's
same
also
time,
not
he
what
has
this is, though, either.
he has been very good to this point. Justin Fields is playing better. I will say if he has a good week this week, I'm gonna go sell him, and I'll have to dig more into what you could realistically get. Maybe go get
Listen.
like a CD Lamb or somebody.
Yeah,
But
no, if
I think
Bijan doesn't have a great week again this week, like let's say Bijan goes out and has 13 and a half fantasy points in PPR leagues, which is fine, but not great. And people who drafted Bijan are going to be like, want a little bit more. You, in a redraft league with your DJ Moore, can go get you a Bijan Robinson. And I would do that every day of the week.
Oh yeah, and that's one of the reasons he's my start this week is because I think this is another week. It is a good matchup.
Yeah. I think he will probably get it done this week. And then I would cash in.
Bye, DJ.
On that count. We'll see you. All right, quarterbacks. No, sorry, wide receiver. I still have to do mine.
Hurry up.
It is. It's Chris Godwin. He's got Detroit this week. And
I'm starting Chris Godwin
Oh, well, there you go. You're
because of
welcome.
Justin Jefferson, but I'm starting Chris Godwin.
I think this is we've got a questionable designation right now on Mike Evans, and he did not practice today, Wednesday. So if Mike Evans doesn't practice tomorrow on Thursday, then he's likely not going to play Sunday. Chris Godwin without Mike Evans has been quite nice. I think there was one other game this year where he didn't have Mike Evans playing, and he went out and delivered for fantasy football. It was 8 for 114 against
that was
the New Orleans Saints, which is a very good defense, by the way.
Yeah, the Saints are very good. And I think Chris Godwin's kind of been due anyway, even if Evans was playing, because, I mean, we all know Chris Godwin's extremely good. He's finally healthy again. Evans has just been dominating for some reason. I mean, not that he's bad, but Chris Godwin, he's underrated to this point.
I think he is. And also, he has not scored a touchdown yet, so I don't want to jinx it, but it feels like he is due for a touchdown. And I will say this. I might have a bit of the Midas touch because I said Jalen Waddle and Chris Olave were going to score last week, and guess what they did? They scored last week.
It's a very good thing for Chris Olave because he had one other catch.
Yeah, it was rough.
For like 3 yards.
but at least he scored, he delivered on that one, and that was it.
We'll take it.
We will take it. All right, quarterbacks.
I'm going with him. Last week, I think he's got it back. The signs are coming. It should be a high-scoring matchup against Seattle. I'm going with Joe Burrow. I mean, you've been sticking with him this long, probably. I think they're about to start lining up. He looks healthier. Let's go. Fire up the engines. The Bengals are back.
I was about to ask you when we got on here. We didn't really talk about this on the last episode, but like he had looked so bad, and then he bounced back obviously in a major way against Arizona. And like, how much did that kind of, I don't know, like did that make everything all the consternation you had about starting Joe Burrow, about starting Bengals, did that just sort of go away after you saw him be good?
Yeah, I mean it was a weight off the shoulders. The fact that he actually moved around in the pocket. He looked like his leg he's not 100% still. I don't think that, but it's getting there. And the fact that he was finally able to sit back and threw some very nice throws to Jamar Chase. I think it took a weight off my shoulders personally. I feel great about Jamar Chase going forward. He's back in my top 5 at least. I don't know about everybody else's. And I feel safe with Joe Burrow, whereas like he's not going to go out there and throw for 130 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick, I don't think again. I think it's much safer, and the ceiling is still there because there's never a week when I'm not going to be surprised that Joe Burrow goes out there and throws 5 touchdowns. And I think against Seattle, it's a defense I'm not scared of. I think they can it'll definitely be a higher scoring game. So Burrow will have to throw touchdowns if he wants to win this, which they desperately need to win as a team if they want to turn their season around.
Yeah, they're going to have to go get a dub Sunday. It's a make it or break it sort of week.
So high scoring game in a must win situation. Give me one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I don't care if he's injured. I don't care if T. Higgins doesn't play. He showed it to me last week.
Yeah. Speaking of the Arizona Cardinals, my start of the week is playing them. Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
I thought about putting Stafford here.
Yeah, I know. You started him. Who was your start last week, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. This one, it just feels too easy. I mean, he's got Cooper Kupp. He's got Puka Nacua. The offense has been one of the pleasant surprises in the NFL this year.
The team
I
as a
think
whole.
he's due for a multi-touchdown game.
Yeah. I mean, has the most he's had all year is 1, I think. Has he only thrown 2 touchdowns?
I don't think he's had a multi-touchdown game yet.
It's got to happen. You just saw Jamar Chase himself score 3 touchdowns against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
The combination of Puka and Kupp has gotta go for at least 3 touchdowns, I think.
I think so. I'm hoping so because I'm starting both of them in the Mully Boys, in the league above all the rest.
Well, you got to at this point.
In the granddaddy of them all, it's Cooper Kupp and Puka.
The Rose Bowl of fantasy leagues.
Yeah. Really hoping they come through for me. So yeah, Matthew Stafford. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because I'm hoping that he comes through.
You are a Puka believer.
He's making me into one, man.
That's fair.
Every week, like we said, we were gonna wait and see, and we
we waited and we saw.
We saw, and he came through. 11 targets, 7 for 71, and a tutty. Yes, please.
That's with Cup out there.
Hey, that said a lot to me. It was like, okay, this is legit. This is not a flash in the pan.
Yeah. So yeah, I 100% agree with you there.
Yeah, we'll see how he does. Knowing my luck, he will flop, but
I don't want him to, but
no. Stafford's the start of the week against the Cardinals. All right. If we were to redo our fantasy drafts today, the first 24 picks, where would we go? Starting at the 101.
And we're going from here on. This is including the
Yes.
injuries to Jefferson and all those guys.
Yes, and I will say you're not going to hear Justin Jefferson's name called. You're not going to hear Devon Achane's name called. I would love to, and they would be, probably among the top 5 picks if we were to redo this. But they're on IR. Kind of
Don't know when they're going to play again.
Yeah. So the 101 in ADP this year was Justin Jefferson. And honestly, if he didn't get injured, he'd be still in that conversation. But if we were to redo it right now, knowing what we know, who's the 101?
I don't think there's a whole lot of conversation here. It's Christian McCaffrey, and in a landslide.
Yeah, it's not really close. Tyreek Hill's our 1 or 2, and he's been great. But Christian McCaffrey has been
Christian
he's
McCaffrey
on-
is scoring as much as quarterbacks.
Yeah, Christian
I
McCaffrey
think-
right now is 5th in MVP odds.
Yeah, I looked in the scoring settings of a couple of our leagues. Josh Allen is I think the top scorer in most of them. Christian McCaffrey is like 5 points behind him.
Gosh,
He's putting up quarterback points.
that's crazy. We're back to
2019 CMC is back.
Yeah, he is back. And this is including this past week when he only had a measly 12 and a half.
Yeah, it was a very pedestrian week, and he didn't kill you.
Didn't kill you at all.
That was worst case scenario. What do you mean Christian McCaffrey only had 12? Like, if I'm going up against Christian
Honestly.
McCaffrey and he only scores 12, I am ecstatic. I'm like, I stand a chance this week. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey's the 101. Not close. 102, we have Tyreek Hill. The 102 in ADP was Christian McCaffrey.
Tyreek is... What do you want me to say?
He's been so good.
He
He's
is
just
he
been
is
so
that guy.
consistent. He was the 106 in ADP. I think it's safe to say he's been the best receiver. I mean, he is our 102.
Yeah.
At the 103, Ben, you're gonna have to do a little bit of arguing here.
I don't think I had to do a
Because-
whole lot of arguing.
Maybe not a whole lot, but Jamar Chase is your 103, reclaiming his spot. He's the 103 in ADP, so he hasn't moved at all, even though he hasn't been great.
All right.
He's your 103.
Let's back up just a second. You're saying he hasn't been great, and I will give you the first 2 weeks were tough. The Bengals themselves were struggling. He still wasn't horrific. He had 9 points, 8 points. Obviously not what you want from your 103 or anybody, but it didn't kill you. Then week 3, he's back to 26 points. Then week 4, 14 points. And week 4 felt like a bad week because the Bengals got slaughtered. Jamar Chase still had 10 targets, 7 catches, 70 yards. So in a bad week, scores you 14 points in PPR. Then last week, this is the upside we always chase. I mean, that you chase with Chase.
Yeah.
And I looked through the scoring settings of a couple of our other leagues. You know how many 50 burgers Tyreek Hill has had? 1.
One. There you go.
Chase has 2 in his career. Chase is 23 years old. Jamar Chase, I think it's safe to say, in my opinion, he's back. Three good weeks, 1 amazing week. He had 19 targets last week, 15 catches, broke the Cincinnati Bengals franchise record. I don't care if T. Higgins does play. Jamar Chase is back to, this is what I expected from him. He's the wide receiver 5, number 8 overall. I don't think it's a question for me. Jamar Chase is back.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you too much crap about it because he is really great. Yeah, I mean, since this is a going forward list, who would I rather have? Uh, I put it simply, I would rather have Jamar Chase than a lot of the guys here. So he's our 103. Number 4, we've got Bijan Robinson. I feel a little weird about this one. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna lie to
Bijan
you.
has not done what you expected or hoped he would. He still hasn't been bad.
No, I mean,
He's getting you
this
like
is the weird
15 a
part
week.
with him. Yeah, he's looked like on the field, he has looked amazing. But at the same time, there's just here's what it is. I don't think he's got a rushing touchdown yet.
Does he not?
I don't think he does.
And I watched the Falcons.
I do not believe that Bijan Robinson has a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, he scored a receiving touchdown in week 1. He had a receiving touchdown last week. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
0
it.
rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns.
That's crazy.
Not amazing. Now, he's got 2 top 10 running back finishes. But at the same time, it just hasn't quite been the ceiling that we thought. I think that's safe to say. But
And
while
the
that's
Falcons
true, he's still been very good, just not amazing.
and the Falcons offense is not amazing. They've had 2 weeks where they've scored single digit points. 1 week I think they scored 2 field goals. One was like a lone touchdown from like Drake London or somebody. So the offense hasn't been bad, so it's kind of capped his ceiling a little bit. And he hasn't quite been as dominant with touches as I thought he would be. Tyler Algier does have a role. If anything, I think this is more solidifying the reason to have him here because he's playing at his floor right now.
Yeah.
And he's still the RB7.
Yeah, and he's got the 4th most targets in the NFL for running backs right now.
Yeah, the upside, it can only go up for Bijan from here.
Yeah. Number 5, maybe this is a bit of recency bias. I don't know, but it's Travis Etienne.
I mean, we've been talking about it. The volume is there. He is getting 90+% of the snaps out of it's kind of similar situation because Jacksonville's offense hasn't really been what we expected it to be.
Yeah.
Until this past week, they finally started to click. It looked like to me. So, I kind of think it's more of the same. ETN is only going to go up when he's getting this kind of volume, and the offense is going to get better.
I've got volume. Volume is the key here for Travis Etienne. Right now, he is 2nd in the NFL in touches per game. He is 8th in targets. He's not been massively efficient, but it really doesn't matter when you are one of the 3 most used running backs in the NFL on a good offense too. So it doesn't matter. He's really
well, that's
good.
what I was saying. The offense hasn't. I don't think the Jacksonville offense has met its stride yet.
I don't think it has either. It feels like they have had so many hitches and hiccups and bumps in the road, and yet they've still been good, and they just beat the Bills and looked like a far better team in London than the Bills.
And he finally, that offense finally clicked, and you saw what happened with it. He scored 2 touchdowns, had like 150 yards. It kind of came together for him.
Yeah. It's been wild because he has been very solid, not amazing all year long. It's been like 14, 14, 15, 17, and then 38.
30.
So
We got there.
Obviously, the ceiling is there. And if you've got a floor of like 13 points in half PPR, that's phenomenal. That's amazing. That's really what you want from your top guys. You want a floor that's really high and a ceiling that is also really high. And that's what ETN gives you right now. Number 6, we got Cooper Kupp.
There's an argument to be made for him to be higher.
I think there is too. I think you can make an argument for him at 4.
I would say you could definitely talk me into having him over Bijan and ETN, and I would not give you much pushback.
I wouldn't either. He comes back and just starts right where he left off. 12 targets, 8 for
He
118.
had like 6 on the first drive.
Yeah. Dude, that first drive was, I mean, it was so good. It was
Yeah,
so
we-
good for my soul. I mean, he comes out and it's just, oh, oh, he's getting so targeted right now. He almost had, and I told you this because I was watching the game live. The first drive they go down, and he has like 5 for 50 or something, and he ends up not getting the touchdown in the red zone. And I was like, Ben, he could have just had a 16-point drive. What a way to have started, and then obviously finished out 8 for 118. It was glorious.
Yeah, this is I think we talked about it last episode. This is my first time having Cooper Cup, and we talked about it in one of our main dynasties, the one where unfortunately you lost Jefferson and Connor and them. But I was like texting you like the whole time, like watching it. I'm like, I've never had Cup before. This is what this feels like. This is awesome.
You're like, this is so much fun.
I love this.
He is like the Christian McCaffrey of wide receivers. In
It's
that,
amazing.
if he gets 12 points, you feel like it was a bad week.
I feel like we just talked ourselves of let's make an adjustment. We just talked ourselves into him being at 4, I think.
I think we did. I think
Yeah.
we need to adjust this. Cooper Cup is officially our number 4, Bijan 5, Travis Etienne 6. How's that sound?
Yeah, I feel better with that.
Okay, I'm with it. Number 7, we've got Josh Jacobs.
He's kind of a I would say maybe this is too high. I mean, I don't think it's too high. He started out slow, and now he's starting to pick up where he left off.
Yeah, so you fed me a stat right when we were starting that he is the most targeted running back in the NFL, which is
He's
true.
on pace for 80 targets.
That's crazy. But also, what if I told you he's averaging more receiving yards per game than Christian McCaffrey? And it's
Honestly,
not
I'd believe
super
it.
close.
I
He's
believe
averaging,
it.
He's averaging 38 and a half. McCaffrey and Samaje Perine, believe it or not, and Jalen Warren all average 33 a game.
Wow.
And they are 2, 3, and 4. So he hasn't been great on the ground. In fact, he only averages 2.9 yards a carry on the ground. But
Ew.
the receiving has been amazing.
I mean, they're losing in a lot of these games. They're always close games with the Raiders. Yeah, he's kind of just been a dump off machine, and he's finally getting the goal line touchdowns, which weren't going his way earlier in the season. They have gone his way like the past 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
he's just safe.
This is the benefit of the running back field being decimated. Because there's a lot of guys that could be here that aren't because of injury.
I mean, to be fair, once they said Josh Jacobs was coming back, I think we did have him around running back 6 or 7. So
I think we did. Yeah. here he
it's
finds
not a
himself at
huge
3.
gap from
4.
where he was,
It's not. It's not.
considering the injuries we've had.
He's right there. Number 8. This
This one's weird.
This feels bizarre. It's David Montgomery. He's our RB5 right now. Did I calculate that right?
Bijan, Etienne, Jacobs,
he's
Montgomery is 4.
4. Yeah, whew. What do we say about David Montgomery? My goodness.
I don't. It's
So-
more, what do we say about Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yeah.
They've decided they were going to use him in new and interesting ways. The new and interesting ways are to give David Montgomery the ball.
Yeah. Did you see the quote that Dan Campbell had today about David Montgomery?
Dan Campbell's crazy. I don't read all his quotes.
So he was like, we view Jahmyr Gibbs as the change of pace guy, but you need a guy who can handle
Obviously.
20 to 25 carries. And I just thought it was really funny because obviously that meant they don't view, and honestly they shouldn't because Gibbs is barely 200 pounds, but still,
We
they
knew-
don't view Gibbs as a 20 carry guy, which is confusing because they took him at pick 12 in the draft.
I mean, I think we all knew this, and even I knew this going into it. But it's just the complete lack of usage. We knew David Montgomery was going to get more carries than Jahmyr Gibbs. That was never
Yes.
Never in question he was going to outcarry Gibbs. It's the lack of usage, period, by Gibbs, really. I mean, he's only getting like 7 to 8 touches a game.
Yeah. And Montgomery is averaging, I think he's north of 20 carries a game right now. Let's put it that way. He has scored a touchdown in every game. He had a trifecta against Green Bay. Um, he's not incredibly efficient on a per touch basis. He's very good. He's not breaking long runs. He's just sort of a
He did have
hammer.
a 42-yarder against Carolina.
There you go. There you go. He's really interesting because he's not a breakaway big play sort of runner, but he's truly like if AJ Dillon were good, he would be David Montgomery. He just wears the defense
It's
out.
upgraded AJ Dillon.
It's a light version of Derrick Henry. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's a pain to deal with as a defense, a guy that's 240 pounds that just gets hardly ever gets tackled for loss, has a great offensive line, and just 4 or 5 yards a carry. It's tough to deal with. And he gets all the goal line, and Jahmyr Gibbs is kind of their true change of pace back. So Dave
When they
Montgomery
wanna
is
change the
one of
game.
surprises of the year.
Once or twice.
Yeah.
Oh,
When
let's
they
get Jahmyr Gibbs on one jet sweep.
And now Jahmyr Gibbs is injured, and Dave Montgomery is just
wonderful.
feasting. Just
Wonderful.
feasting. So
I hate myself.
why, Ben? You only traded the farm for him.
Yeah. I only traded the farm for him and then lost Justin Jefferson
Brutal.
and Nick Chubb. Excellent. I'm doing great.
Number 9, we've got Stephon Diggs.
Ain't too much to say here.
There's not. I did a post today actually about wide receivers. And there's been some fluctuation with some of the top receivers, and just looking at their numbers and their quarterback yards per attempt and their target shares and stuff. Diggs is the same thing he's been the past 3 years.
I'm looking at our list. You could argue Diggs over Jacobs and Montgomery to me, and I don't think I give you much argument on that either. He's
You
just
could.
that good.
You could. I think it would depend on your scoring settings, but yeah.
This is true.
But yeah. I mean, he's great. He's exactly what you thought he was going to be.
He is like a fulcrum. He does not change year to year. It's just you know exactly what you are getting with Stephon Diggs.
You're getting 160 plus targets, probably 1,200 to 1,400 yards, and between 7 and 13 touchdowns.
Feels pretty good. He's the wide receiver 2, number 4 overall player.
Love to see it. Number 10, we've got A.J. Brown. He's
Slow
been
start, but he's okay now.
He's been better than we thought he would be. Let's be honest. He had that slow start, but A.J. Brown right now is on a multi-game 130-yard stretch. He's getting double-digit targets in all but one of their games. He had 8 targets against the Rams, but he had 127 yards. But his last 3 games is 130, 175, 127 yards. That's very good. And then in week 1, it was 80 yards. He's had 1 bad game, basically, and 4 very, very nice games for fantasy.
He and Jamar Chase have been kind of similar stories this year. Of first 2 games were very slow, and then from week 3 on, it has just been lock it in 20 points.
Yeah, he's been great, and he hasn't really been scoring touchdowns. He's only had 1 game where he scored a touchdown. He had 2 in that game. It was an explosion. It was fantastic and wonderful.
He didn't score against Tampa Bay? Oh, no,
Nope.
he didn't. Okay.
Nope. Yeah, he's only got 2 tutties on the year, but he was the
Wow.
wide receiver 2 that week, so that's nice. He's just, he's great.
It's A.J. Brown. You kind of know what you're getting with him, too. There's a little bit more volatility than guys like Diggs, but the ceiling is ridiculous. So
At 11, we've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who should be back this week off an injury. Fingers crossed on that. But
we know Amon-Ra at this point.
yeah, it's lots of targets. He's the number one guy on a very good offense. He's got the ability to score quite a large amount of touchdowns. Need we say more about
Amon-Ra
Amon-Ra
St. Brown?
Yeah. 12, we got Keenan Allen. Bit of a surprise here.
Not if you look too closely, but it's Keenan Allen.
It is.
And what's his? Mike Evans is out, or Mike Williams.
Mike Williams is out, yeah. So with Keenan Allen, I think we just need to address the fact that like he is not a glorified slot receiver this year. He's actually getting down the field. His yards per catch. Let's see here if I can get it. That says yards per route. That's not what I want. Well, we'll do it this way. Yards per route. 12.7, 13.9, 11.9, 10.7 per route. Keep that in mind.
Wow.
So, very solid. He also had a 200-yard game in there. So,
Where he also threw a touchdown.
that's one of the wildest stat lines. Oh, my goodness. He's had two wide receiver 2 finishes, and then 2 wide receiver 20 or worse finishes. That's weird.
Feels like a little AJ Brown in there.
It does, but
He's either going to be the 1 or he's going to be like 15.
yeah, but he's the guy for the Chargers, and he's getting all the targets.
Yeah,
all of them. So it's great. At 13, let's say it all together.
No.
It is Puka Nacua. I need some more excitement for Puka Nacua.
I'm gonna let you take this one.
He only leads the NFL in targets. I think he's second in yards right now. Cooper Kupp came back and he was 7 for 70 and a touchdown. He is paired with the wide receiver Kingmaker. Matthew Stafford made
Can there be
Kenny
two
Golladay
kings, though?
good. There can be a Prince, and a Prince can still be the 13th best player in fantasy.
All
You
right.
can have a king, and you can have the crown prince. And Matthew Stafford will deliver to both of them.
I hope so. For your sake, I really hope so.
Oh, for my sanity, I hope so.
Yes, you need it.
All right, number 14, we got Breece Hall.
He's back.
He's back, baby. Lock him in. I think you can say comfortably he's a RB1 moving forward. Now that we have seen the training wheels get pulled off, he's got a full workload. He had 22 carries against Denver, 170 yards, a long touchdown. He's great.
Denver.
It is Denver.
I'm just
so I'm
kidding.
not expecting 170, but can
I
we
think
get 75, 80 yards a game? I think so.
I feel much safer too knowing Zach Wilson has kept the offense competent, if nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, I was telling somebody that today. Like, he's not been great, but they've been functional.
But
They're
he's not
the
absolutely
worst.
just destroying the team.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, Breece Hall, he has not been that guy until now, but I think the rest of the season you're going to look at Breece Hall, and he's probably going to pay off on that 3rd round draft price or 4th round draft price or whatever it ended up being. Dalvin Cook is a non-factor. He's done nothing to make me think that he is going to eat into the Breece Hall experience.
I'm no longer worried about Dalvin Cook.
Remember when we were worried about Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook?
Yeah.
Wow.
I still think I was right to be worried about Dalvin Cook.
I think in theory, yes.
We were not right to be worried about Zeke, but also the Patriots offense itself is an anomaly. So
An anomaly for being terrible.
yes, for being ridiculously bad.
I saw something today that they're averaging 10.6 points per game right now.
That feels high to me.
It's like if they score a touchdown, we celebrate.
They've scored 3 points the past 2 weeks.
Yikes.
Scored 3 against Dallas, and they got shut out by the Saints.
Yikes. Yeah, they've been
Whew.
outscored like 78-6 the past 2
The
weeks.
point differential right there is, whew.
That's bad. Okay, 15. Kyron Williams, the RB1 for the Rams. We tried to tell you the RB1 for the Rams was a valuable fantasy asset. Just wasn't Cam Akers.
The coaching staff just has to tell us which one it is.
I know. I need some clarity, Sean McVay. Yeah, Kyron Williams hasn't been super efficient, but he's scored a bunch. He's had an elite target share for running backs. He's, you know,
This would be the name, looking at the rest of this, I would expect to fall down this list.
sure.
But
I can see that.
for now, sure.
Yeah, I can see that. 16, Kenneth Walker.
Can we get my man Sharp some touches?
No. Kenneth Walker said
Apparently
a
not.
ball.
Yeah.
Apparently not. Kenneth Walker is the goal line back, the receiving downs back, the first and second down back. He's everything.
Well, I think the receiving is still not quite there. I think he and Charbonnet more or less split it. They both get like 2 targets a game. But he also
There's
gets
not
20
much to
touches
go
on
around.
20 carries on top of that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, he's been a lot better than I thought he would be. I was panicking because, and maybe I think it had more to do with the fact that I thought Charbonnet was really good than
I still think
didn't
he
Kenneth
is,
Walker was
but he's
good.
just got to get on the field.
Yes, but I think we might have just discounted how good Kenneth Walker is
I will agree with that.
more than we were excited about Charbonnet.
They played a cruel trick on us when they spent a second rounder on a running back.
They did. Imagine what Charbonnet could have been if he ended up on,
Miami.
I don't know. Oh, ooh.
Whew.
Don't do that to me.
He was going in the second round. That's when Miami was looking for a running back.
Woo.
Instead, we got
okay.
A-Chain.
Hey. A-Chain's been that guy now.
I mean, I don't think he's doing,
No,
but they're also
nobody
they're
would
also
be
very
doing what A-Chain's doing.
they're very different players though. So
I still have never seen anything.
Charbonnet
quite
does
like
not run a
A-Chain.
4.2.
No, he does not. The the Miami Dolphins have like the top 10 fastest speeds clocked at any point this season. It's just all Dolphins. It's Tyreek Hill, Mostert, Devon A-Chain, Jalen Waddle, multiple times.
Must be nice.
Whew. They've got a formula. Let's put it that way. Devontae Adams is at number 17.
Feels low.
It does feel low. He's been really good. He's also shown the ability to have ceiling weeks. But at the same time, he also had a floor week this past week when I think he had like 2 catches.
He had 4
4
catches
for
on
40.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, only 4 targets too.
Yeah, he didn't get anything going. It was weird.
I think it's less of a Devontae Adams problem. It's more of just the Raiders are just kind of all over the place.
I think we can say with our chests that Josh McDaniels is not a good head coach.
No, we've been saying that for the past couple of years now.
I mean, I really thought the way they had it set up, I mean, he had his quarterback, he had Devontae Adams. I was like, you really can't screw this up.
Yeah.
And then he did.
And obviously we have him at 17. I'm not super worried going forward. He's had 9 targets, 8 targets, 20 targets, 13 targets. And then last week was just kind of an outlier with 4. He has been banged up too. He's been questionable the past 2 weeks with, I believe, is it a
It's like a
shoulder
shoulder?
injury? I think.
Yeah.
A shoulder injury. So I don't see it hampering him too much going forward, but you can kind of temper expectations for a little while, I guess.
Tony Pollard at 18.
Dallas is strange.
They're weird. They blow teams out, and Tony
I
Pollard
think they're
looks
bad.
great. You think they're bad?
I think they're bad.
Interesting.
I am also
Interesting
not a
take.
big Dallas fan.
That would be a non-Dallas fan thing to say. I mean, they're not
think
bad.
They're not bad, but they ain't San Francisco either.
Well, no, but let's be honest here. San Francisco is kind of on an island by themselves right now.
This is true. He has
That-
his production is kind of dipped the whole year.
Yeah,
I
and
think it's
some of
more
it
of
is just that they're murdering people or they're getting murdered.
yeah.
There've been two polar opposites happening. They haven't really had like a normal game at all.
I would assume this is the week it's coming. They play the Chargers. The Chargers are neither a terrible team nor are they one of the elite teams. They're kind of in the middle, I think. I mean, obviously I know Justin Herbert is spectacular, but the Chargers as a whole are probably the most normal quote unquote team they've played this year. So
Normal.
we'll we'll get a much more of a litmus test this week.
Yeah, I think so. Um, Alrighty, Travis Kelsey. We have we have not
Why is he
mentioned
here?
we have not mentioned the tight end one going
Travis, get up there.
forward. He hasn't been his usual self. He's still been the best tight end in terms of points per game. He's averaging like 13 points per game right now. But it's just not quite the dominant tight end that you're looking for in the first round. I think it was the fifth pick, and
Yeah.
that pick hasn't really paid off so far.
I think it's been the injury. It's been like some of these the Eagles were blowing people out. So the injury week 1, he's now injured again with his ankle. I still he's playing this Thursday, so that's fine. Again, I think he's another one of those players. He's at his floor right now, so we really haven't seen the ceiling yet.
Yeah, we'll say he's averaging right now. I think it's his career low in yards per target, or average depth of target, maybe it was. Um, Meaning he's just not working down the field like he
And
has in the past.
part of it is the receiver situation. They have no good receivers, so he's kind of just got to be Mahomes' safety blanket.
Yeah. Uh, DeAndre Swift, your boy is here at 20.
I'm so happy.
How happy
I'm so
are you,
happy
Ben?
right now. You've got to have your boys in here. You've got Brees, you got Puka up here. I get to have mine in here. I'm so happy.
He really has been a pleasant surprise, I'll be honest.
He has taken over the Eagles' backfield.
He has. It's his, and he's not relinquishing it for anything. He's looked so efficient. He's not doing anything in the pass game. That's the only thing
He did have
that you
6
would hope.
catches this past week.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's probably a season high.
But we also knew going into this that Jalen Hurts doesn't throw the running backs. He's a mobile quarterback.
He does.
He has thrown a little bit more than I thought he would, so I'm actually impressed with the catches he's got. But again, like you said a second ago, he's been efficient, and that's what you're banking on. This is potentially the best offensive line in football. He himself is an excellent runner. He's surprised me. He has really good vision this year.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's just been gashing people.
He's looked very, very good. 21, we got Jonathan Taylor.
There he is.
There he is. We expect
There's our
now
boy.
that he is off IR, that he's working his way into game shape, that he will ramp up. The Colts have looked very, very solid. They've got a great play caller, getting things rolling there for them.
Steichen.
I can't wait to see a Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Richardson offense.
Well, it's
so
going to be a few
exciting.
weeks.
It's going to be a while.
They said it
But-
could be 4 to 8 weeks for Richardson.
God almighty.
I hope it's not 8.
I can't catch a break right now, man. I mean,
Either
Gardner
way.
Minshew will hold down the fort.
Either way, I think Taylor will be good. Minshew will be fine.
Zach Moss absolutely dominated when they played Baltimore and Gardner Minshew was starting. So
I
It'll be
still would
okay.
temper expectations the next couple weeks because they are going to work him in. It is not going to be an instantaneous turn the key. Jonathan Taylor's getting 180 yards.
right, yeah, they'll work him in. C.D. Lamb at 22.
Surprisingly low.
Yeah, it's just this Cowboys offense.
Same thing
like
as
you
Tony
said,
Pollard. Like he
it's a
should be
little
way
weird.
higher. Both of
should
these
be.
guys should be way higher.
He's only really had one good fantasy week. The rest of them, he's getting like 4 or 5 targets, and that's just not going to cut it for a guy drafted this high. We do believe in the talent, though, and I would project him to bounce back the rest of the season as their game scripts sort of balance out. Because like we said, they've been all over the place.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have a ton else to say.
Saquon Barkley at 23.
We can tackle probably these next two guys back to back.
Yeah, we'll say Saquon and Austin Eckler round out our top 24.
When they're healthy, they'll be
Um,
higher than this on the list.
Yes. And Saquon is in a pretty interesting situation where it is him versus the world right now for the Giants because they're all hurt. Daniel Jones is hurt. Like 3 offensive linemen are hurt. Not that it mattered anyway because they were
Darren
terrible.
Waller didn't practice this week.
Oh, gross. So,
Wonderful.
Might be rough. Might be rough here for a couple weeks for Saquon, but we do know when he's on the field, he's great. As long as he's not getting injured.
Yep.
And before he was injured, he was performing. It was looking very nice. Except for that Dallas game, sorry. Dallas game, nothing good happened. But outside of that, it was pretty
That was one of the worst games we've ever seen.
That was horrible. Austin Eckler, he said he might play this week.
I hope he
I don't
stays
know.
out. Please stay away, Austin. Go away.
Oh, jeez. Don't you love him so much?
No.
Him
Let
and
Justin
Taysom
have
Hill?
his moment. It's his time.
Oh, man. I mean, I will say in his one game this year before getting injured, Austin Eckler had 24 fantasy points.
Yeah, that's the problem.
The problem is he produces.
Yes, that is the issue. That's what I'm telling you.
The issue with Austin
He's a
Eckler is
problem.
that he's good.
The issue is I have him nowhere and Herbert everywhere.
Yeah. For those of you who don't understand Ben's issue here, it is that every single time the Chargers are in the red zone or in the 10 zone, they run with Austin Eckler and he scores instead of either throwing to him or anyone else on the roster. So
Yeah,
Herbert
it
can
makes
never
me-
cash in.
Incredibly upset because like I said, I have no shares of him. I've been knocked out of the playoffs multiple years by Austin Eckler.
Yep.
And like having Herbert, like you sit there like, okay, they got a first down and goal. Guess what? It's going to be Eckler. 4th and goal because of Brandon Staley's insanity. You know he's going to go for it on 4th and goal, and he's going to give it to Eckler.
4 straight every single time.
Yes.
Chalk it up. Yeah. It's a fun time.
You boys haven't been hurt like I have.
Ben has seen things.
Yes. I would like to add a 25th player on here. Kyle Pitts,
Yeah.
obviously.
Oh,
I
God.
would- Top of the 3rd round, baby.
Oh, just where people wanted to take him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Brutal. Anything else you want to add?
I think that's it.
All right, that'll do it for this one. Appreciate you guys for watching, for listening. If you're listening, make sure to leave us a rating and review wherever you are listening. Subscribe on YouTube so you can see us every time we go live. We're trying to get every show live on YouTube. So
That is the plan.
that is the plan. We'll see how it pans out, but we're 2 for 2 this week.
Bingo.
Bingo, bango. All right. We'll see you next week when we're breaking down all of the week 6 craziness. We'll see you
Hopefully
then.
we were right.
Hopefully, let's see. You know, we've been on a hot streak with the starts of the week. Let's hope we get it again.
Been killing it.
We'll see you.